The Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, and we are live in Detroit, streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980 as well. If you're watching, you see Brian Mitchell. These should be, and hopefully soon to be, Hall of Famer.
Hope so.
We're getting. You're like at that point now where like the call. You're like next year's the year where the rules change, right, for you?
Not necessarily. Look, I'm the type of guy where I go out and I put my stuff basically on the resume, and then I'll let you decide if you want or not. I can't overly worry about it. You know, when I get to focus on something and start thinking about it, I can get a little crazy. So I try to stay away from that.
We still got. I see you got one of the rings on, so that nobody you got that, which is nice. No one can take that away. What do you remember about your draft day?
I was at home. You know, I told people last night I was at an event that I got drafted so long ago where this thing was only the first rounders were called on TV and nobody else. And now basically you can get everything in some form or fashion on TV. I was laying in my apartment with my agent, and when I finally got the call, Coach Don Bro called and said, "When our next pick, we're going to pick you." And
so it wasn't like you could run to the TV and be like, "Oh, let me watch it."
Yeah.
Like, so I'll take your word for it.
I waited, and then I got that call in about 15 minutes after he had called me. And we went down to a place called Pete's. It's like one of the local watering holes in Lafayette, Louisiana. And it turned into a party. You would have sworn I was the first pick in the whole draft. But we had fun, you know. And I think that's the thing for me where I wasn't overly concerned about where I was going to get drafted, just though I went to a good team. And I remember when I got drafted, my offensive coordinator, he told me, he said, Barry Wilson, he said, "You going to Washington. Every 4 to 5 years they go to the Super Bowl." And they had gone in 87. And what we do in 92, we were playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And then, bam, Coach Gibbs left. Damn.
Yeah, right. Things have slightly, unfortunately, changed. It's all John Kimes' fault. He joined the beat the next year. He's been on it ever since.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's Cake's fault. No, so I actually do. That I think is like a relevant talking point, too, to this draft and this group of commanders that's about to come in, right? And specifically with the number 2 pick, we presume at this point it's going to be Jayden Daniels.
Yeah.
And there's all this hullabaloo about whether or not he wants to be here. We know the relationship he's got with AP out in Vegas. There's the whole Topgolf snafu, whatever. Like, these dudes all go. It's a draft. That's how it works. But as a player, like, how real is the preference and how quickly does that go away when your name is called?
Everybody has a preference. Everybody grew up cheering for a team.
Right.
Everybody had some along their journey, they passed by someone that was cool with them. And you would like to be with those guys in a perfect world. But normally, as soon as you get drafted, when they call your name and you know that you're about to get a $40 million check, you don't care about that other guy. You know, I take it all the way back to college. David Culley, I've known since I was 16 years old. So I went to University of Southwestern Louisiana because of David Culley. Mm-hmm. And about after my second year, he decided he got a better opportunity, which people have jobs to get better opportunities. You know, ESPN call you right now, you go. You know what I'm saying? So
especially if they want to offer me a $40 million check.
David went to University of Texas El Paso, and he was like, "Man, I hope you." I say, "Coach, you got to take care of your family."
Right.
I say, "Thank you for the 2 years you gave me. I now have what I need to work for it." Then I got drafted into the NFL, and David was at the Steelers. I didn't try to go to the Steelers. You know, Washington drafted me, and I was happy with that. I grew up. And I've said this many times so people won't be shocked. I grew up a Cowboys fan. I never liked the Saints. But the Saints said they were going to draft me in the second round. So I was leaning towards that. Once they didn't draft me, I was all burgundy and gold. From that point on, and every time I played the Saints, I gave it to them.
Right.
And when I played Dallas, I gave it to them. So I think people, you know, they get caught up in words today. And I think that little thing from back in the day, sticks and stones don't hurt you. You know, sticks and stones may hurt my bone. Words will never hurt me. So when people say stuff, don't let that put you too many places. Watch once you get drafted and what happens then.
Right. Brian Mitchell with us here on the Team 980. Of course, listen to him and JP Finley 10 to 2 daily on 106.7 The Fan. It'll also be part of the Commanders coverage tonight on their digital outlets, and actually the next couple of days as we move towards all 3 days, which are super important for the Commanders. They rebuild this team. When you look, I mean, you and I haven't had this discussion, which I'm going to ask you, which is kind of silly because all we've done for the last 4 months is talk about these guys. And so your opinion is very on the record. We just haven't done it on our show. But if Daniels is the pick, level of excitement 1 to 10.
I mean, I'm excited. You know, I think the whole thing about it is he is a dual threat quarterback, I think, which the league is going to. I think you look at Cliff Kingsbury offense, they like people like that. Hell, Cliff Kingsbury, they had a first-round pick in Josh Rosen. They drafted Kyler Murray. And miniature quarterback in a sense. If you want to look at quarterback, Jayden Daniels comes along and do the same thing that Kyler Murray can do, probably faster than Kyler, and he's 6'4". So I think that they'll probably go with him, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I think even take that step further, what they say about Jayden would love to play other places. Dude, you can change this thing up. You can bring Washington back. And I guarantee you, if you do that, the love that they give you in D.C., he'll know he made the right decision. They made the right decision.
Let me ask you this, because you played with Doug.
Yeah.
Being the quarterback of Washington in whatever iteration their name is at the moment is like, that's a high pressure position. You get a lot of attention. You are a certain someone in the city. Being a black quarterback in DC is different. And you saw it up close with Doug. Yeah. We saw the impact that had for however you want to take that sentence for Robert. We saw it for Dwayne. What does it mean for Jayden to the city, and then what do you think it would mean to him to follow in those footsteps? You know,
I think when you look at when Doug played here, DC was called the Chocolate City. You can't necessarily say that at this point. No. You know, but ultimately I think it's a lot of people who takes a lot of pride in those guys coming along. And the more I listen to Jayden Daniels talk, the more I learn about him. The dude does everything that you want somebody in that position to do. I very much understand when you're playing quarterback, you're not typical. You're not average. You're not going to be able to do the things that other people do. And I think Jayden Daniels has done that. Getting up at 5-something in the morning and doing all the things he needs to do.
I got up at 6 to catch a flight this morning, and I'm dead, Brian. I did it once.
But see,
I'm not about that.
See, and I think that's what people take a lot of pride in because, you know, let's be real. This country hasn't always been fair to the African American community. Then when you see somebody get to that level and you see them producing and having success, it makes you feel that I can as well. You know, I've known Doug since I was a little kid. I grew up in Louisiana. He went to Zachary. He was friends with my uncle. And when I saw him finally get to the league, I was thinking I can make it to the league. I didn't care what position I was going, as long as I got there. And you can use anything to motivate you if you're willing to put the work into it. And now you see he's been motivated. Jayden has put that work into it. And if he were to come here and truly start to get some things rolling, this city they will lose their minds. But it's not going to just be the African-American community. It'll be everybody losing their mind because, listen, man, I got here in 1990, and I have gotten more drinks and meals and gestures and welcome me to the homes and stuff from all different types of nationalities because of what we did on that football field. It means something to the people in the D.C. metropolitan area.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You know, there's all the jokes about the only thing that can bring D.C. together, Democrats, Republicans, whatever you want to split it, the one thing that can bring them together is a good Washington football team. It might
not be a joke. It might be factual.
Definitely right now, but that's a different radio show. Brian Mitchell with us here on the Hoffman Show. Jayden, the thing that excites me about him is he seems to have figured something out in the last year of how he can improve himself. Like, he was a statistically pretty steady player through his first 4 years, a guy that was on track to be a day 3 pick. Then all of a sudden, he discovers like the virtual reality stuff, and he discovered something in the way he worked to have something click. Yeah. How translatable is that to the NFL from both your own experiences and what you know about Jayden?
It's very transferable. I think the thing about it is once you begin to do something, and it makes you realize, and you have success with it, it makes you realize, okay, I got to invest and dedicate more into me. And I think once he's done that, now what he's doing, he's searching for the next thing.
Right.
See, when I look at people like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was great early. but every year he came back doing something better.
Right.
LeBron James has been the same type of way. And you look at quarterbacks, Tom Brady, how he was. You know, the dude had all that success, but still was coming in before everybody, leaving out there, doing everything, changed his body. Jayden Daniels is now going to have to find his journey to make sure that keeps going. Because the thing about the NFL, when I make the comment about it's easy to be drafted, but it's hard to stay around, when you hit about year 6, they start looking for somebody to take your place.
Oh, yeah.
You have to make sure that you keep your body up to standards with the people that are coming behind you. And they may have better technologies and things of that nature. But if you are still performing at the level that they can and the coaches know they can depend on you, you stay around.
Right.
You got to make yourself to a level where people can't get rid of you.
Well, and especially a quarterback, because there's only one of you. It's not like you can go be the, I didn't work out a tackle, I'm going to go play guard. There's not that. And you're the most expensive guy on the team. So when they got to pay you veteran money,
there you go.
You better be worth it. The concerns for Jayden generically are obviously size, throwing over the middle of the field, which is kind of debatable depending on who you ask, on who's watching the tape, the way they see it. But on the size portion of it, that to me is the thing that if it doesn't work out, and I think it will, just for the record, I think that Jayden Daniels is going to be really, really good in Washington. But if it doesn't work out in 5 years, and it is because the durability and because he takes a bunch of sacks because guys just can knock him down easily, we're going to look back and be like, that was a really dumb red flag to overlook. How does he make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, I think the thing about that is it just shows you how society is in the sense, though. I think J.J. McCarthy was 193 after he was playing that, and nobody said nothing about his size.
Well, he's also barely 21 years old, and he's already up to like 210.
But see, I think I got drafted. I was 22 years. Well, I got to the league. I was 22, and I was 195. I played at 203 my first year, 209 my second year, 216 the third, and then I never dropped below 216 the rest of the years. I think Jayden is going to. And he's 23,
right?
So he's going to still gain weight, and then when you get on an NFL regimen, you'll gain even more weight. But the thing about it is, do you want him to gain too much?
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking, right? Is it's not just like clearly they're going to want him to put on 5 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. And Chad and the strength staff and all the nutrition folks. And his frame, I don't know that he's got the frame to add a whole lot more.
He can add 5 to 10.
Yeah, right. But he's not going to go he's not going to be 225 ever. But how do they use him? How does he protect himself so that doesn't become an issue?
It's not how you use him. I heard him on a show. I think it was with Chad Ochocinco and Shannon, where he said, they're gonna notice I'm a dog, and that means that I'm aggressive. I'm gonna go after people. What he's gonna have to learn right now is that he is no longer trying to impress the NFL as a college athlete. He is now trying to make sure he's there for his team week in and week out, game in and game out, year in and year out. So if you just gotta tell him, look, man, if it's not 4th down in a Super Bowl, in a playoff game, we don't need you trying to run over anybody.
Right.
And I think that's the whole thing. Now, as much as he's taken those hits, he got up from every one of them. Okay? And I think what people have to understand, I think people don't get this. I don't care if you're Ben Roethlisberger, 250-something, Cam Newton, 250-something. They don't attack the weight room like the rest of the football players. They are always studying, always in meetings. Everybody else is getting ready for the accidents, okay?
Right.
So big or small, you get hurt. But the fact that he's been doing this thing at a high level in the SEC the last 2 years, and he was still in games, says a lot about his makeup and his build. I think people would be kind of a little hesitant based off of Forbes coming in last year. But Forbes played a position where they don't want to hit a lot.
Right.
And then people in the NFL took advantage of that this year. They attacked him and made him have to play a physical game. Jayden played a physical game already.
He does.
But I would want him to protect himself more. Just slide,
Yeah.
And he knows how to slide.
Because that's on tape, too.
Yeah.
It's not as fun to post a highlight of him sliding on Twitter as it is to watch
he knows how to slide.
looking like he's in a Looney Tunes cartoon getting blown up. But,
exactly.
He definitely knows how to, and that's it. What's interesting to me about the size thing, and Nate Tice studied this for Yahoo, and of course works at The Athletic as well, is his thing is not like quarterbacks under 205 get sacked easier. Because if I'm a defensive end and I come around the edge and I get one hand on you, I can pull you down. Mm-hmm. Where like Ben Roethlisberger shakes you off, steps up in the pocket, delivers a dart. And that's the thing that I wonder. And he is such a unique athlete that when I say I wonder, that's not code for like that's a problem. It's like I really wonder what he can do because the way he's built, how strong he is. I actually wonder if he can sustain some of that stuff because there's actually not a lot of that on tape for as many sacks as he took on paper.
See, he took 23 sacks last year in 13, 14 games, which is not bad. He had 43 the year before.
Yeah.
So he learned something in a year to where he dropped it damn near halfway. But this is what they don't ever talk about. When they come around and they go to swipe him and you miss him, 60 yards down the field,
right,
40 yards down the field. That right there, I would take the risk of him being 210 or whatever they say he is now, 207. He walks around. He can be 210. He can end up 215. But the fact that you might miss him and he could throw a dart down the field or he can run the thing on you. Many quarterbacks don't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And it's kind of in a like cousin kind of way why I'm not as concerned with a guy like May missing some of the layups sometimes because he might miss a guy on an open slant on 2nd and 9 and you're like, dude, now it's 3rd and 9. But then he'll go make the craziest play you've ever seen on 3rd and 9 and he gets you out of it. And so as long as the percentages are right, it can kind of work out. Yeah. Other than quarterback, do you have any strong feelings on those early day 2 picks, 36-40? Do they have to come out with a tackle like a lot of people say?
I would like for them to move back into the first round and get a tackle.
Do you have one specifically targeted?
Well, at that position, it'll probably be Mims or somebody like that. But I think what it is if you get you a left tackle that plays for the next 10 to 15 years, 10, 12 years for you, that's more important. I know everybody says, oh, you got to get multiple picks. If I get one guy that can play for 10, 15 years at that position, that's way more than trying to get those 2 picks.
As long as you get it right.
There you go.
That's the hard part.
And it is. But, like, right now, we want quarterbacks coming in and play. And we think every position can do it. The toughest position might be offensive line because you're playing against some grown men on the other side, too. What if you get a guy like that and you have Lucas there and you can help him out a little bit and then you allow this kid time to grow and then put him in there? That could be a great thing for you.
Totally. Which is why if they get unlucky with how the tackles fall and they can't get into the first round and they wind up in the second with a Patrick Paul, a Kingsley Suamataia, someone like that is developmental, Corn being there and buying you, let's say, 4 to 8 weeks is huge.
Yes.
I don't want Corn Lucas playing the entire season, but I agree with you. If the right guy falls, I would be okay going to get him, especially if I don't have to give up 36 and 40. Like, I don't want to go into the teens. That's going to be too expensive.
I'm with you on that.
Right guy falls to about 23 and you go up in front of the Cowboys and get him. I think that's nice.
But I think overall, though, I've been in different offenses, and there are some where you don't help the left tackle.
Right.
And there's some where I'm chipping on the way out. I got bad shoulders because of that. Chipping on the way out or the tight end chips. You make that tackle look better than what he is. And if you could just do that and then leak late, you watch what Andy Reid does. Most times you have Kelsey doing a little chip or you got a running back doing a chip, and then they're the late checkout, and there's nothing but room in front of them.
I know, by the way, that tends to get you – I mean, it's not a free release because you invite the contact, but as a tight end, like for Kelsey, for instance, because he's initiating the contact, he's at least dictating the terms. And then the linebacker that's on
linebacker's gone.
Is like, okay, well, now I'm not going to try to manhandle him at the line of scrimmage, and then Kelsey gets to do his little thing, shake open, and off you go. Yep. All right, last thing for B. Mitch here. I'd be remiss if I did not ask you this, considering what you did as a kickoff returner. The change in the rule, how does that affect the draft in that, like, is there a certain body type or position or set of traits that you think rises half a grade, half a round grade in value because all of a sudden kick returns are a part of the game
The
again?
guys that are going to be playing special teams, your body type will change maybe just a little because it's not necessarily you have to be as fast now since you're starting so close to the people, but you have to be a little bit more elusive. And I think also when you're looking for the return guys, there are guys who build up as they go. That's going to hurt those guys. The guys that can instantly build up their speed, they'll have a lot more success. So, and on top of it, you don't know if you necessarily want the smaller guy. You may want a guy like when I got in the league, I was a big kick returner.
That's who I think is going to be.
So you get guys like from 198 to about 220 that can actually run, because right then you're going to be trying to break tackles from a guy that's not going full speed.
Right, because it's
Yeah.
kind of like a gap scheme, like downhill,
Yeah.
one hill runner.
It's more like a running play now, like
100%.
an offensive running play, and you're gonna be able to get in and out the hole, but you're gonna have to be strong enough to break some tackles.
100%.
Yeah.
So you, for whatever it's worth, you agree with Charles Davis, who we asked about that. He said the
Yeah.
same exact thing.
Yeah, I'm with it because I think the thing for me is just having it back in the game.
I love it.
Just kicking off into the end zone and going up to the
Like,
25.
We're
that's
wasting our
boring.
time. Put the ball at the 25, or do this.
Yeah.
Do this. Put it back in the game.
There you go.
Brian Mitchell with us here on the Hoffman Show. He is staying in Detroit, so he will be here tomorrow on with JP 10 to 2. And, of course, check him out with Santana and the rest of the gang over on the Commanders YouTube page. Brian, thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
This is the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.